Okay, we're going to call to order special meeting of June 15, 2017. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll? As a notice for the members of the media and press that are here, a press credentials only press conference will be held immediately following this meeting at the atrium of the police department. You'll go down to the second floor, walk across the ramp, and into the atrium. I just want to let everybody know that. Any persons present wishing to address the City Council, the accessory areas of the Parking Authority, which I'm calling to order right now, Madam Clerk,
A quorum is present.
for any item on the agenda right now, item 1, may do so at this time.
Good evening, council members. I notice that at least one member of the group is not here. And I'm going to tell you that I find it absolutely abhorrent that you have chosen to have a special meeting today when the residents of this community cannot typically come. They are working, and a working class community should have the right to attend all of the meetings held by its city council. Since you've been sitting here, you've avoided that at all costs. At this time, you have chosen to slightly misrepresent to the community what the plans for the future are because you do not give them to us. You violated the statutes of the Brown Act by not having any of the documents available 24 hours in advance. That is inappropriate, and you know it. They went up at 3:45. So don't sit here and pretend that this community is not aware. I would encourage anyone who wants to do business in this community to look at the track record. It is not nearly as glossy and pretty as some would have you believe. In fact, that's why we're not meeting on Tuesday, because of the meetings that have occurred in the prior Tuesdays. I would encourage anyone who cares about community to look at the environmental impacts and notice that we should not be the traffic stop doormat for any entity. We are a community of residents who deserve to be treated with respect, who deserve to have our opinion heard, not just at 9 o'clock in the morning or when this council chooses to disregard them.
Thank you. Mr. Cater, you come on up, Mr. Agee. Mr. Cater, when was the agenda and the accompanying staff report posted? All right, so it did read the statutory minimum of 24 hours. Thank you, Ms. And did you post that yourself?
Clerk's office.
So, all right, thank you very much. Mr. Agee, go ahead.
My name is Willie Agee, and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood, and I'm proud of it. I want to say I've been here for 53 years. I've been a commissioner for, I believe, 14 years in this beautiful city. I could not be more proud than I am today. Our leadership in this city, Class A plus. Staff, our council people, I just can't say enough for this city. And I want to tell you this. People who are afraid and think that we're going to have traffic problems in this city, no more than Beverly Hills, Hollywood, or any other place. But we're going to have traffic. That's better than having no traffic at all. And I'm proud as I ever been. 53 years citizen, and I support this program, the Clippers coming here, 2,000%. I'm proud of them. I want to thank the owner of the Clippers for coming here, because this is going to be the #1 sports center in the world. And the people that's responsible for it is sitting right here on this dais right now, and staff, and it's just great. I'm proud. As a disabled veteran, let me tell you something. I could never be any more proud than I am of this council staff, and just keep up the good work. I think in 2020 we might have a new president, and he might be sitting right in front of me right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Agee. Such an excellent judge of character.
Good morning, Mayor, City Council, and staff. I personally found out about this meeting through, I didn't know it was happening today. And I heard about the Clippers possibly coming to Inglewood over television station. I'm looking around and I noticed that there's mostly males. And we know you're very sports-minded. But you should take into consideration that there are many women in this community. And we do most of the transversing through the city, shopping, taking care of our kids, doing women's work. The traffic is going to be horrendous unless you have a plan that I don't know about to control it. When the Lakers were here, you always use as an example, it was still very congested with the Lakers and the racetrack. It was still congested. Men were at work, and then when it was time to go to the games, well, they were off work, you know. They could make time to go to the games. And it also disappoints me that the majority of the residents living in Inglewood are not here. Many of them are working. So with the meetings being called, the regular city council's meetings being called at 2 in the afternoon when everybody is at work, and then having these special meetings when people cannot attend, I think you're doing a disservice to the majority of the residents, even though you try to convince me that the majority of the residents are in favor of what you do. I object to that. And I wish you would change the meetings back to 7 o'clock, and please give us time to know when you're going to call these special meetings. I don't like finding out what's happening in my city over the TV. I don't like that. It impacts me, and it impacts my neighbors. So I know I'm just talking to the air. Nobody's paying any attention. But I wish you would have more consideration about the residents. I've been saying this over and over and
Definitely
over.
have.
And it doesn't seem to get through. But I'll sit back and I'll wait and see, like I told you, Mayor Butts. I will look at the result of what you do.
There you go.
But right now, I'm not in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sly. I really appreciate it.
Eric Holly, Inglewood Chamber
Time's up already,
President.
Eric. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Eric Holly, Inglewood Chamber President and also Commissioner. Inglewood has definitely turned itself around. The mayor and the council are doing some really amazing things, and I can't be more prouder of any group to put us on the map the way that it's done. And Inglewood is not just national news, we're international news. We're making headways in ways that no other place can. We have development coming here. People actually want to be in Inglewood. Traffic means money. So I'm not worried about the traffic, and I'm a resident. We're looking for the Clippers to be here, the Rams, the Chargers. We intend on being the best city in this county. And as the mayor says, we can wait for LA to be a suburb of Inglewood. So I commend you guys. I look forward to this new venture, along with Jerry West coming to the Clippers. It's going to be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir. Mayor, city council, staff, and people of Inglewood and guests. Kind of takes your breath away. 6 years ago, you couldn't hit me upside the head with a bat and said, "And you watch. This is where the city's going to be in 6 years." Just huge things have happened. It all comes down to path, the interested people of the city chose, take or not take. I've been, for lack of a better term, along for the ride for, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if I could pick an analogy, it would be, I'm an amateur Egyptologist, and I have an opportunity to be dynasty of the 18th dynasty. That's the one that actually had a woman lead it, named Hatshepsut. And when she was done, called the New Kingdom, the Golden Age of Egypt. This is not going to be easy. All of us, we're going to have to bring out the best in us that we didn't think we had. Because, we're going to have monumentous issues. We're going to have to build a pyramid, basically. We're going to have to do some heavy lifting. I'm excited at the challenge that it's going to bring. Going to be changes. They're already happening. Certain things are leaving, and they're not coming back. And it's hard to stop a battleship once it gets up to steam. You can't do it on a dime. I'm optimistic, and I would say to everybody concerned, if you have an interest in this town, get involved. If you didn't before, this is what you missed. If you're not happy with it, that's why you missed it. And I mean, for those folks, I'd say you really, again, get involved. Because this place is going places. That's obvious. By now, I hope it is. And with that, my prayers are with everybody. And let's get busy. I know this is going to work in the end. I just have that feeling. Thank you.
With that, we'll close public comment. We're going to pull item 1 from the consent calendar. Madam Clerk, could you call it?
Read it, right?
Please.
Staff report recommending approval of an exclusive negotiating agreement by and among the city of Inglewood as successor agency to the Inglewood Redevelopment Agency, the Inglewood Parking Authority, and Murphy's Bowl LLC, a Delaware limited liability company.
Move approval.
Second.
Before the vote, can we have a staff report? Mr. Jackson?
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. We have before us the exclusive negotiating agreement with Murphy's Bowl. Just want to give you a really quick overview of the staff report, highlight some of the general aspects of the agreement. Recently, as you know, and as it's articulated in the staff report, the city was approached by a developer, Murphy Bowl Limited Liability Corporation, requesting negotiations to take place regarding the purchase of various parcels, real parcels that are located within the city of Inglewood, and that is obviously to facilitate the development of a premier and state-of-the-art National Basketball Association professional basketball arena consisting of approximately 18,000 to 20,000 seats. As it relates to the particular areas in your staff report, you have a site map that identifies those areas. But just for the sake of the public, it's bounded by Century Boulevard on the north, Prairie Avenue on the west, Yukon Avenue on the east, 104th Street on the south, and there are two large sites that are located west of Prairie Avenue for the specific area that the exclusive negotiating agreement will address. In there are three types of parcels that we will be looking at: city parcels that are owned by the city of Inglewood, agency parcels that are owned by the successor agency, and then there's another classification called potential participating parcels, and these are the parcels that potentially will be acquired or needed to be acquired as a part of this project or the layout of the project. I would say that there is not a specific design at this point, but what it will do is allow for the area that would potentially create the arena. The ENA specifically allows for 36 months, and during that time period, the developer is required to enter into a funding agreement regarding complying with CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, and then also to meet certain information and documentation submittal timeframes, which are specifically in the ENA, which you have before you and have read through. Finally, the developer is required to deliver a $1.5 million non-refundable deposit to the city that may be used to pay for certain administrative costs and other related expenses incurred by all of the public entities that are represented here. That concludes staff's presentation. Staff is available for any questions.
Thank you. If there are no questions, we'll go forward with the vote. Madam Clerk, could you call for the vote?
Council and agency members: Dotson.
Aye.
Padilla. Morales.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Of course. Then we could celebrate again. All right. Are there any council comments? Oh, excuse me. Mr. Lewis, we need a report out from closed session.
Thank you, Mayor. There was a closed session item, labor negotiations. On behalf of the agency, Mr. Jose Cortez, the Human Resource Director, and on behalf of the organizations representing the employees, there was the Inglewood Police Officers Association and the Inglewood Police Management Associations. Discussions were held and directions were given to staff, and that concludes my report.
The council comments, Councilman Dodson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I heard someone say they're 50-some-odd years resident. Well, I'm right behind that person at about 47. And I've been here, and I've seen it go up, and I've seen it go down. There's never been a prouder moment since I've been in Inglewood than has happened since I've been here on this council. We hear a lot of comments from a lot of people, but you've got to realize that you're living in a time now that you never expected to do. This is monumental. And it starts at the top. And we must admit that. You need a good leader to make things happen. We have one. And this council has been 100% together with that leader since we stepped on this dais. And everything that we do for the goodment of the city of Inglewood. There's no decision up here made that's haphazardly done. It takes a lot of research, thanks to the staff, and then we make decisions. They're not haphazardly done. So I think you all, if you live in Inglewood, should be very, very proud of your city and your administration. And I don't want to ever not say something about our public safety. We have a great police department. And that's going to even get better along with the rest of the city. So be proud, enjoy this day. Got some great things happening here. Let's dwell on that. Let's don't dwell on the negative. Traffic means money. You tell me one city in the world that has no traffic and they're making money. It doesn't happen. So with that, thank you all for coming out today. Enjoy this day and enjoy what it means. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Padilla, District 2.
Thanks, Mayor. You know, this is truly an exciting day for the city of Inglewood and the surrounding communities, because when Inglewood wins, the region wins. This is good for everyone. And I want to thank staff for putting together, you know, a good report that's very, you know, informative. It laid everything out. I want to thank everybody that worked on that. And I want to thank the community for their support. I've received several phone calls yesterday and some messages from folks that live in Inglewood and outside of Inglewood in support of everything that we're doing. Inglewood is on the map, as I said, for all the right reasons. We're doing so many things here in Inglewood with development that's going to improve our quality of life as well. And so, as I always said, you know, Inglewood is going to be the place not to drive through, but the place to drive to. And this is part of that. And so I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I want to thank, again, our public safety partners, police and fire department, because they're going to be tasked with making sure our folks are safe in our community as always, and we are safe. We're a very safe community. You know, but again, at the end of the day, man, Inglewood is happening. And it's an e-ticket ride, so hold on and enjoy yourself, and let's celebrate. Thank you so much.
Councilman Eloy Morales, District 3.
Thanks, Mayor. My family's been in Inglewood for 40 years. I've been on the council for 14. And when you grow up in Inglewood, you always know that Inglewood had this great potential. When you work in Inglewood, you know, man, this is a great potential here. When is it going to happen? But even back then, at the beginning, we had big visions for the city of Inglewood. And I can tell you, we didn't envision 2 NFL teams and now contemplating an arena for NBA basketball. We didn't envision some of the things that are happening, but it's here, and we're very proud of the fact that it's here. Today, what we did was basically open up the avenue of negotiation with the group that we'll see if the deal gets done. We're going to do all our part. The mayor's actually done a real good job of kind of leading us down this path. And the one thing that is clear is that we as a city are prepared to make that step happen. Why? Because, you know, and I've said it a lot, one of the things we're getting used to, and you hear it from the community when we talk about traffic, when we talk about all of the noise, everything that happens with these developments, a lot of times, you know, I mentioned we're still getting used to our own success, but it's something that brings us to a place where we need to be. I think it was Councilman Dotson who said, you haven't been to a city that's successful that has nobody there. And it's true. It's true. But it's also something that I say how many times, we all mention how long we've been here, because we have to live here too. And it's something that we balance. But everything in life has a price. And if we want to make our city as successful as some of the best cities in the country, these are things we balance. And we are prepared to do so. I see just a bunch of employees here from the ones that are in the front line to the ones in executive offices, and that's because this is an exciting day. We feel like we're reaching something that we were meant to be, and we're excited about it. So we're gonna go through this process, we'll open up to the public, and you know, let's get it done. So, Mayor, thank you.
You know, over the last 6 years, this city has seized control of its destiny. no city in the United States of America that has done more for its residents, that has done more to improve the living conditions for its citizens than the city of Inglewood. We've done the little things. Went from trimming 1,200 trees a year out of a 20,000 tree inventory to trimming 6,000 a year out of a 19,000 tree inventory. Before, you were lucky if you got your tree trimmed every 20 years. Now you get it trimmed every 3 years. We've paved more miles of roadway. We've repaired more linear feet of sidewalk in the last 3 years than in the prior 15 years combined. Our police department's done a magnificent job. We're entering our 6th lowest consecutive year of crime in the history of recorded crime in the city of Inglewood. Our residential sound insulation program insulated 2,000 homes last year, 2077 actually. It's the #1 sound insulation program in the country for any city of any size. The Forum, remember that 2014 when it opened and everybody said nobody come to Inglewood to go to the Forum again? It's the #1 concert venue in the state of California, #2 in the country, #4 in the world. When we started talking about the NFL, a lot of people sitting in this room, actually, some of them, said, oh, the NFL will never come to Inglewood. They're just using you as leverage against St. Louis. And a year and a half ago, the Rams and the NFL committed to coming to Inglewood. January 17th of this year, the Chargers committed to come to Inglewood. And now here we sit, entering into an exclusive negotiating agreement. And let's not be confused about what this is. This is like a promise ring that we hope will lead to an engagement, that we hope will lead to a marriage. And we have a pretty good track record in consummating those marriages. We feel good about that. Now let's talk about this whole issue of the timing of meetings. When I came here, you know, I've started with the city of Inglewood. It's 1972. 1972. Had to go away to become a police chief to Santa Monica. And I was a little unhappy about that because I always wanted to be the chief here, but it wasn't meant to be because the chief wasn't leaving when I received an opportunity. I'm glad I went away. I learned a lot while I was gone in Santa Monica. Combine that with what I learned while I was in Inglewood. When I was in Inglewood, we had the Kings, the Lakers, and the racetrack. We had entertainment money, and we did well with our general fund. I left in 91, the Lakers and Kings left in 99 to go to Staples. Off-track betting killed the participation of the racetrack. And so let's talk about what we used to have in traffic here. We used to have about 38,000 to 41,000 a day come to the racetrack outbound against the 17,658 inbound into the Forum or to see the Kings or to see a concert. So we had well over 50,000, 60,000 people against rush hour traffic. And we did it just fine for decades. I was here. I ran the traffic division for a while. We did just fine. Football is played on a Sunday, in the afternoon, sometimes on a Monday night. It's going to have the inbound and outbounds to itself. Regardless, the traffic that we will anticipate in terms of distribution throughout the week will be nothing compared to what we have experienced running for decades. So for those of you that worry about that, you're worrying about our prosperity. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of traffic in Santa Monica too. A lot of traffic. And what I learned when I went away, combined with what I learned when I was here, is that cities that depend on their indigenous sales taxes and property taxes, they get by in the boom years of the economy, and they struggle with every recession. Every recession. If you don't bring people and cars from other locations into your city, then what you're saying is you're going to tolerate a level of mediocrity in your services. When people come and they bring their debit cards, credit cards, and cash, and they spend it here, they pay for your police services. They pay to trim your trees. They pay to renew your infrastructure. And so that's what you elect councils to do. That's why you elect people, because you can't have a vote citywide on everything that you do. And, you know, I hear this thing about calling special meetings. The reason that cities have trouble competing economically is because elected types, for the most part, don't understand the necessity to be decisive and swift in seizing opportunities. Now, I always say that people have said we're lucky. I say luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Every time there's been an opportunity in front of the city, we were prepared and positioned ourselves to seize it. And when this deal came together, were we going to wait for another Tuesday to do it? No, we weren't. We're going to do the deal. I don't know of any other city that gets paid $1.5 million to negotiate. Go around and check around this country. There isn't one. So, and finally, about this whole thing about the time of meetings. When I came back and when I left, we had council meetings at 7 o'clock, and they go to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And for all that time and frustration, you know what it led to? Being 7 months away from cash flow bankruptcy. So every council meeting is not a poll. Every council meeting is not an election. We have big polls, and they're called elections. And when you have elections, people decide who they want to make decisions. And the last election, Mr. Morales was at 90%. Nobody ran against Councilman Padilla. George was at 65%, and I was at 84%. We polled pretty well. So I want to congratulate this council and the vast majority of residents in this city that have presented a very unified persona, to the economic world, and it has manifested itself, as I said before, in the city of Inglewood seizing control of its own destiny. Worked for the city of Los Angeles, worked for Santa Monica, worked for Inglewood, never been prouder to work for a city than I am right now. And with that, we'll be adjourned, and we'll be moving to the press conference at the police department, go down to the second floor. Congratulations, everybody.
Good job, Big JP.